This is a case that we've been watching fairly closely for a while now. We even had the parents on the show, the people that are the subject of this next story, the parents of Ellen Greenberg. Pennsylvania court has made a significant ruling now regarding the controversial death of Ellen Greenberg in 2011. This is the 27-year-old who was found in her Philadelphia apartment with 20 stab wounds. Initially labeled as a homicide, and then the cause of death, someone in their infinite wisdom said, no, I think it should be suicide. A decision that has left many questions unanswered. Why? Number one, it's a physical impossibility to stab yourself 20 times, especially in the back of the head. And in your back. It can't be done. So how there's even a conversation about this makes no sense to me at all, because facts are facts, and that is simply a fact. I don't know why there should be litigation or many minds on this contemplating, you think that is a suicide or a homicide? I don't. It's like the sky is blue. It's a fact. It is what it is. Ellen's lifeless body was discovered in the apartment that she shared with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg. The grim scene raised multiple questions. Goldberg told authorities that he had left the apartment around 4:45 p.m. for a workout in the building's gym. Upon his return, roughly 45 minutes later, he discovered the apartment's swing bar lock was engaged from inside, preventing entry. It should be noted, this is his account of the incident. It's no one else's. He said the swinging bar lock was preventing entry. Did that happen? Oh. Growing increasingly concerned after failing to establish contact with Ellen via calls and texts, Goldberg attempted to force his way in, and when he finally did, he found Ellen seated on the kitchen floor, fully clothed, with a knife protruding from her chest. The nature and location of some of the wounds, particularly a severe laceration to the top of her skull and stab wounds to the rear of her neck and spine, added layers. I know, we talk about complexity. This isn't complex. I mean, she's stabbed all over the place. That makes it a murder. It's a homicide. It's not complex. It really isn't. Although Goldberg was questioned by police, he was released shortly thereafter. Oh, and by the way, his uncle showed up the next day, high-powered attorney, and took all the electronics out of the house.
Which is highly unusual, especially surrounding anything like this.
And they didn't look at the scene as a crime scene either. Yep. So the evidence, all of that should have been gathered and looked at closely, not handled correctly at all, or intentionally not handled correctly to cover something up or someone up. And that someone's probably not too far away from this person, maybe even mentioned in the story. However, in the surprising turn of events, a medical examiner reversed the decision after meeting with police, labeling Ellen's wound as self-inflicted. The medical examiner, by the way, left very quickly after that. Disturbed by the sudden change in the cause of death and convinced that there was more to the story, Ellen's parents, Joshua and Sandra Greenberg, sought answers. They enlisted a private investigator who declared Ellen's death strongly suspicious of homicide. The investigator pointed out significant gaps in the police's case, including a lack of records from Goldberg's interrogation and the failure to examine the murder weapon for fingerprints. You know, shit you do just basically. Like a 10-year-old could tell you to do these basic things after watching Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
How did they fuck it up so bad? I don't know. That investigator's been on the show, by the way. If you search Ellen Greenberg on our channel or go to our Ellen Greenberg channel, you can hear that interview as well. Despite the efforts of the Greenbergs and pleas to reopen the case, it was always denied. The denial led them to sue the city's medical examiner office in 2019, seeking to reinstate their original cause of death, homicide. And that's where we get to today. Just this last week, in a recent verdict, the Commonwealth Court, guess what? The corrupt city sided with the corrupt city, ruling that the Greenbergs did not have legal standing to pursue the case. However, in a noteworthy mention, the judges stated that they were acutely aware of the deeply flawed investigation. Their decision elaborated on the pressing need for a detailed review of the investigation in the hope that justice would eventually prevail for Ellen and her family. That's exactly what they're trying to do, you fucking morons.
Yep.
Because everywhere they've gone, they hit a brick wall because of the corruption in Philadelphia, within the law enforcement, within the court and judicial system. They thought maybe if we go over here because they got railroaded off on the other places, maybe we can get something going here. Maybe if we can sue, you can get into discovery and you can subpoena some of these things. But the Commonwealth doesn't want that to happen. There's too many people in the government there. There's too many people well connected there, high up, that will not let this happen because somebody with a connection, somebody that someone cares about, maybe somebody even in the government there, who knows exactly what happened, and they're not going to let that get out. Especially if someone has moved on with their life after many years and started a new family and everything seems great and wonderful. I think even if all these years later, you move on, you resettle, you do all that, I would still be a massive advocate for the person that I was engaged to if they were stabbed and killed in this sort of way, of trying to find justice for them if I had nothing to do with it.
And that's exactly it. I think there's a huge cover-up going on here. There's some connected people. They're using their resources. Somebody owes somebody something. This is the biggest, in my opinion, but quid pro quo here. Somebody is paying somebody for something here.
Without a doubt. And I don't know if it has anything to do with...
There's no way.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe it's nothing to do with the ex-husband. I have no idea. I would say the way that this has been handled looks beyond suspicious. Because it does. It looks shady as fuck. So I don't know. I feel horrible for this family. Reacting to the decision, the Greenbergs admitted they were disappointed but not surprised. Joshua Greenberg, speaking to the Philadelphia Inquirer, highlighted the unexpected sympathy shown by the judges. He said, "I'm more surprised what they wrote in our favor than they ruled against us totally." He further added, "It seems like somebody has a conscience here. They may have been judges in the judicial sense, and they didn't want to change the law, but they definitely feel something is wrong." At this stage, it remains unclear if the Greenbergs will escalate the case to the state Supreme Court. One would certainly hope that does happen.
I hope they do. I hope they take this as far as it can go.
I hope they do and take it as far as they can go and eventually discover who is being the stopper in all of this, who is not allowing this to take place, and also prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Because covering this up is just insane. And prosecute whoever they're covering up for, obviously, the actual murderer and anyone that aided in that process. Disappointing day, but they've been disappointed many times in this case, being pushed away and told no to. I don't think this will be the last time they have their voice heard. If they ever get a yes or if they ever get progress, well, that's up to the corruption in Philadelphia.
You're locked into the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.